And I did write mine down because I could talk for hours on this topic. But Commissioners, thank you for the invitation to be here. I'm honored to speak to you as a fellow West Virginian and an elected official. Big Brother is watching you. 5 words from George Orwell's 1984. Once a warning, today, unfortunately, a description. This is exactly what Orwell warned about. And sadly, this is much of America today. And yet, we still have the power to do something about it. Let me take you back more than 250 years, because the fight we are in is not new. The same fight our ancestors already won once. In the 1760s, the British Crown issued general warrants and writs of assistance. These were not ordinary search warrants. They were blank checks. An agent of the king could walk into any house, open any drawer, seize any paper, and arrest any person without naming the place, without naming the person, without stating what crime was suspected, and without ever having to answer to a judge for the intrusion. These writs lasted for the life of the sovereign and 6 months beyond. They were, in the words of the time, the worst instrument of arbitrary power. James Otis stood before a crowded Boston courtroom in 1761, and he called them what they were: tyranny. John Adams, a young lawyer in that room, later wrote that Otis's argument was the moment the child of independence was born. Adams said that every man in the audience left ready to take up arms against the British general warrant. These general warrants helped light the fuse of the American Revolution. As a member of the Sons of the American Revolution, I do not speak of these events as distant history. My own ancestors lived under that system. They endured the knock that could come at any hour, the papers scattered across the floor, the humiliation of a government that treated every free person as a potential criminal. They did not accept it. They fought. Some of them bled, some of them died. They rejected the idea that a free people must live under the permanent suspicion of their own government. And when it came time to write the Constitution, they did not forget. James Madison insisted the document be written plainly so that ordinary citizens, farmers, tradesmen, mothers, sons, daughters could read it, understand it, and defend it. The Fourth Amendment is a direct answer to the British general warrant. It is short, it is clear, it is non-negotiable, and it demands a warrant. Probable cause, particular description, these 3 requirements are a wall between a free people and a surveillance state. The Supreme Court, as Delegate Horst said, has already said that the location itself is protected, both in Carpenter and Chartree versus the U.S. Flock cameras, unfortunately, are the continuous automated version of the tracking that the court has already ruled against. They do not merely photograph license plate. They build what the company calls a vehicle fingerprint: make, model, color, bumper stickers, dents, roof racks, temporary tags. Cameras are placed on roads and at neighborhood entrances. The data is uploaded, stored, and shared across a network of thousands of agencies currently in 49 states. Real-time alerts fire the moment a vehicle appears on a list. Investigators can search by natural language, white truck with a ladder rack near a church, and so on, without ever needing a plate number. Some systems include cameras that can track and zoom in on people and objects. AI, of course, is now part of this program, and they do facial scans as well as gun detection software. So they are tracking law-abiding constitutional carry, gun bearers by analyzing, dare I say, a bulge. The result is a permanent, searchable digital diary of the movements of every vehicle and person that passes. Even the name flock cameras is an omission. A flock is a group of sheep. Sheep are herded. Sheep are watched. Sheep do not demand warrants. We are not sheep. We are free citizens of a constitutional republic. Whether a citizen drives to a church on Sunday morning, the gun range on a Saturday, a political meeting, a bar, a doctor's office, or simply home from work, cameras don't care. They record. Patterns of life emerge from the data, whether anyone consents or not. The government does not need a reason to know where you go. That is precisely the type of location tracking the Supreme Court has already said requires a warrant. As the chairman of the West Virginia Freedom Caucus, I have said this before and will keep saying it until it's no longer necessary. No state or local government should be mass tracking the daily movements of law-abiding citizens without a warrant. Mass surveillance has no place in a free society. The Constitution does not disappear because technology advances. It is not the duty of the Constitution to adapt to technology. It is the duty of technology to adapt to the Constitution. The answer to crime is enforcing the law against criminals, not creating a surveillance state that treats every citizen as a suspect. And the constitutional rights of the people of West Virginia are not bargaining chips. Senator Chris Rose and I, together with our colleagues, are fighting for the Fourth Amendment Restoration Act. This bill would prohibit warrantless real-time mass surveillance technologies, automatic plate readers, facial recognition, multi-modal vehicle recognition, drone surveillance, and similar systems. It would require a warrant based on probable cause before the government can target any free citizen for tracking. It would create real civil and criminal penalties for those that violate the Constitution, as well as a private calls to action for the people who have been tracked. We've introduced this legislation the past 2 years, but unfortunately has not reached the governor's desk. The hard truth is the next regular session of the West Virginia legislature does not begin until January 2027. That is months away. Months of continued expansion, months of new contracts, months of additional cameras going up across our state before we can fight in Charleston to restore the protections our ancestors already bled for. Jefferson County does not have to wait for the legislature. Local government has the authority right now. Refuse any new flock or similar automated license plate reader contracts. If cameras already exist under the county authority, order their removal. Pass a ordinance that draws a clear line. Warrantless mass surveillance technology has no home in Jefferson County. Stand with the people who live here and show the rest of West Virginia that constitutional rights still mean something. We all swore an oath. Every elected official in this room and across the state raised a hand and promised to support the Constitution of the United States. That oath was not sworn to a private company. It was not sworn to convenience. It was not sworn to a vendor that sells fear packages safety. Technology, again, does not amend the Constitution. We do not surrender the rights our ancestors won simply because the tools of surveillance have become more effective. 250 years later, the men and women who rejected general warrants still deserve to be honored in deeds, not just in speeches. They fought so a free people would not live under the permanent eye of unaccountable power. They wrote a constitution that demands named individuals, probable cause, and the judgment of a neutral magistrate before the government may search or track anyone. And again, the Supreme Court in Carpenter and Chartry reaffirmed that the tracking of a person location falls under the protection of the Fourth Amendment. Flock cameras are the modern general warrant. They watch everyone so that government never has to justify watching anyone. They turn every road into a checkpoint and every citizen into a potential suspect. They collect precise category of location information the Supreme Court has already said is protected by the Fourth. I'm asking you as a legislator, as a member of the Sons of the American Revolution, whose ancestors endured and then rejected this exact form of tyranny, to ban them in Jefferson County. Honor their sacrifice. Restore the Fourth Amendment in practice, not merely in theory. Show West Virginians that liberty still has a home here where mountaineers are supposed to always be free. The choice is before us. Let's make 1984 fiction again and restore the spirit of 1776. Thank you.